Andrei paced the kitchen in a rage. He stormed from corner to corner like a tiger trapped in a cage. Anastasia silently watched her husband, sitting on the edge of a chair. She knew it was better not to interfere right now. Let him vent. No, can you imagine this? The man suddenly turned toward his wife. Lydia has completely lost her mind. First, she kept writing letters, saying, "How could you get married? We have a daughter together." Then she started threatening that she wouldn't let me see Olya. And now she's actually saying that I should take the girl permanently, otherwise she'll send her to an orphanage. She's insane, do you hear me? She urgently needs treatment. His wife shuddered. During the 6 months of their marriage, she had become used to the tantrums of Andrei's ex-wife, but she definitely hadn't expected something like this. Why is she like this? What's going on in her head? How can someone manipulate a child like that? And so cruelly? The man sank heavily into a chair. You know, she was always strange. When we got married, everything seemed normal. Then Olya was born, and it was like Lydia became a different person. One moment she'd cry for days, the next she'd laugh for no reason. The doctor said something about postpartum depression. He waved his hand dismissively. I endured it for 5 years. But when she started making endless scenes of jealousy over nothing, I gave up. We got divorced. Andrei fell silent, staring at his hands. Then she seemed to calm down. I helped financially and visited my daughter. But as soon as she found out about our wedding, it all started again. Letters, phone calls, threats. And now this. I'm going to lose my mind. Do you think she's really capable of— Anastasia couldn't finish her sentence. That's exactly the problem. She is. The man spoke through clenched teeth. You don't know her. When she has one of her episodes, she can do anything. She could create a huge scandal or even— He abruptly stopped himself. Damn it. I'll have to go get Olya. Of course you will. The woman gently placed a hand on her husband's shoulder. We'll manage. You have a wonderful daughter. You don't understand. I never wanted this. I really didn't. We had only just started living together, and now everything is falling apart. But that's not even the worst part. Olya is a copy of her mother. The same red curls, freckles, green eyes. Every time I look at her, I see Lydia. I can't stand it, do you understand? I hate it. Not because I want to hurt her, but because she's a continuation of the person I don't want to see even in my worst nightmares. Anastasia remained silent. She understood that her husband was going through a difficult time, but could they really allow an innocent child to suffer because of her mother's madness? That evening, lying in bed, the woman couldn't fall asleep for a long time. Andrei had demonstratively turned toward the wall, making his displeasure obvious. His wife stared at the ceiling and thought about the innocent little girl she had seen only a couple of times. Quiet, shy, like a tiny sparrow. How are you living now, little one? What do you feel when your own mother threatens to send you to an orphanage, and your father doesn't want to take you in? These thoughts brought tears to Anastasia's eyes. She had always dreamed of having children, but so far she hadn't been able to have any of her own. When she married Andrei, she thought she had finally found happiness, a beloved husband and, eventually, children together. And now there was this situation. But could she really stand aside when a child's fate was at stake? Andriusha, Anastasia quietly called to her husband. Are you asleep? The only response was his deliberate snoring. I know you're angry, but please understand, we have no other choice. Olya is your daughter. Your own blood. It doesn't matter who she looks like. I already said we'll go get her tomorrow, the man replied coldly. But remember, this is entirely your decision, and all the consequences will be on you. Those words sent a chill through Anastasia. For the first time during their short marriage, she heard such harsh, almost threatening notes in the voice of the man she loved. But there was no turning back. The fate of an innocent little girl was at stake. Olya sat in the back seat of the car, tightly hugging a worn stuffed rabbit to her chest. Anastasia secretly watched her through the rearview mirror. Red curls. A scattering of freckles across her pale face. Frightened eyes beneath long eyelashes. The entire drive from Kostroma to Yaroslavl passed in silence. Andrei drove with his teeth clenched so tightly that his jaw muscles twitched. He hadn't even greeted his ex-wife. He had silently taken 2 bags of his daughter's belongings and seated her in the car. Ludmila hadn't come outside to see them off. She only shouted from the window. "Now it's your turn to suffer. Goodbye and good riddance." The journey seemed endless. Trees flashed by outside the window, cars sped past in the opposite direction, and an oppressive silence filled the vehicle. Every now and then, Olya pressed the worn rabbit against her nose. Anastasia noticed that the toy smelled like her mother's perfume. Apparently, it was the child's only way of holding on to a piece of her old life. "Are you hungry?" the woman asked gently, turning toward the girl. "We could stop and get something to eat. I saw a cafe ahead that has wonderful pastries. They're really delicious." Olya glanced fearfully at her father and shook her head. Her tiny fingers tightened even more around the toy. "We'll eat when we get home," Andrei cut in without even looking at his daughter. "No need to stop at roadside diners." Anastasia noticed the girl's lower lip tremble. The woman took a chocolate bar from her purse and discreetly handed it to Olya. The girl shyly accepted it and whispered, "Thank you." When they arrived home, Olya cautiously stepped across the threshold, looking around with wide eyes. The 3-room apartment that Anastasia had always been so proud of suddenly seemed too strict and unwelcoming for a child. "Come on, I'll show you your room." The woman held out her hand. The girl timidly placed her small hand into hers. Her fingers were cold with nervousness. "This used to be the guest room, but now it'll be your bedroom. Tomorrow we'll go shopping and buy everything you need. New curtains, a bedspread, maybe you can choose some pictures for the walls." "What do you like?" "I like cats," the girl whispered, lowering her eyes. "And unicorns." "Perfect. Then tomorrow we're going shopping for cats and unicorns." Nastia smiled. "Now let's unpack your things." The girl nodded happily. Together they began putting her few belongings onto the shelves. With pain in her heart, Nastia noticed how old the clothes were. Some were badly faded. T-shirts covered in lint. Stretched out tights. A single dress with a missing button. It was obvious that during the last year Ludmila had completely neglected her daughter. "And what's this?" the woman asked, pulling a worn flower-patterned notebook from one of the bags. Those are my fairy tales," Olya whispered even more quietly, her cheeks turning pink. "Can I keep it?" "Mom said it was silly." "Of course you can. You write fairy tales?" "That's wonderful." Anastasia was genuinely impressed. "When I was your age, all I did was make up stories. You'll read some to me someday." For the first time, the girl smiled shyly. Her face seemed to light up from within. "Okay, if you want. But they're not very good." "I'm sure they're wonderful. What's all this fuss?" Andrei appeared in the doorway, and the smile instantly vanished from the little girl's face. "Nastia, dinner isn't going to cook itself." Then he looked at his daughter. "And you, go wash your hands. And no whining." "I don't like that." Olya flinched and hurried out of the room. A loud crash sounded in the hallway. Apparently, she had bumped into a cabinet from fright. "Andriusha, don't be so strict," his wife said quietly, feeling anger boiling inside her. "This is hard enough for her. Don't tell me how to deal with my daughter." "Fine, if you want to play the good fairy, then play. I'll raise her the way I think is right. Children need strict discipline. Otherwise, in 10 years, you'll have nothing but trouble. That's all I need." At dinner, the girl sat with her head lowered. Nastia had made chicken soup and cutlets with mashed potatoes, but Olya barely touched the food, pushing peas around her plate with a spoon. "Don't like it? Was it better at home?" Andrei asked sternly. No, it's just, the little girl stammered, unable to say another word. Anastasia noticed the spoon trembling in her hand. Then speak properly. I can't understand your mumbling. Andrei, his wife exclaimed. Stop it right now. It's the child's first day here. Give her time to adjust. May I go? The girl whispered, blinking rapidly to hold back tears. Almost all the food remained on her plate. Go, her father said with a wave of his hand. Just clean up after yourself. Don't forget. The little girl quickly grabbed her plate, but her hands were shaking so badly that it slipped from her fingers and landed in the sink with a loud clang. Fortunately, it didn't break. I'm sorry. I'll clean everything right now, Olya babbled, frantically reaching for a sponge. Leave it, sweetheart. The woman gently stopped her. Go to your room. I'll wash it myself. When the girl disappeared into her room, Anastasia turned toward her husband. She had never seen him like this before, bitter, angry, almost like a stranger. Why are you acting this way? She's just a child. A miserable, frightened child. Her mother abandoned her, and now you want to show her that you don't care about her either. I already asked you not to interfere. This is simply my parenting method. I need to make a proper person out of her. A method? You're just taking your anger out on her. You're projecting your hatred for your ex-wife onto a defenseless child. What kind of person are you? Andrei slammed his fist on the table so hard that the cups jumped. What did you expect? That I'd be thrilled about this situation? That I'd start taking her to parks and buying her ice cream? That girl ruined my life before she was even born, do you understand? I only married Lydia because she got pregnant. And now history is repeating itself. Once again, this child is standing between me and a normal life. My God, how can you say that about your own daughter? Nastia whispered in disbelief. I can, and I will. The man stood up from the table. I'm going to my mother's. I need some air and time to calm down. I'm tired of your lectures and your lack of understanding. The front door slammed shut. Nastia was left alone in the kitchen. Muted sobs could be heard from the girl's room. The woman gently knocked on the door. May I come in? Yes, came the barely audible reply. Olya was sitting on the bed, hugging her knees. The stuffed rabbit lay beside her, as if trying to protect its owner. Tear tracks glistened on her pale cheeks. Does Dad hate me? The little girl asked, staring out the window. The woman's heart ached. She sat beside her and carefully wrapped an arm around her shoulders. No, sweetheart. He just doesn't know how to show his feelings. He needs time to adjust. And you? Olya lifted her tear-filled eyes. Do you want me to leave too? Don't even think that. The woman hugged her tighter. I'm very glad you're here. And do you know what? Tomorrow we're going on a big shopping trip. We'll buy absolutely everything you like. Then we'll stop at an ice cream cafe. Deal? The little girl nodded shyly and suddenly pressed herself trustingly against Nastia. Thank you, Lord, the woman thought as she stroked the red curls. Give me the strength to protect this little girl, even if I have to protect her from her own father. The old Audi bounced along the potholes of the dirt road. Outside the window flashed the trees of the Romashka summer cottage settlement, where Andrei's parents spent every summer. Anastasia quietly watched her husband. During the 6 months since his daughter had come to live with them, he had become even more bitter and irritable. I still don't understand why we brought her with us, the man grumbled once again. Mom asked us to help with the garden, not organize a family outing. And where was I supposed to leave her? Alone at home? She hardly goes anywhere except school. Let her get some fresh air. I'll feel calmer too. In the back seat, the little girl pretended to be absorbed in a book, but the woman noticed how her fingers had turned white from gripping the cover. Over these months, Olya seemed to have shrunk into herself even more. Only with Nastia was she slowly beginning to open up. They read together, drew together, and had even started writing a fairy tale about a magical cat. But whenever Andrei appeared, Olya immediately turned into a frightened little mouse. The car stopped at a newly built gate. Nina Pavlovna was already waiting on the porch. "My son." The elderly woman smiled brightly, but immediately frowned when she noticed Olya getting out of the car. Anastasia felt the girl press herself against her, searching for protection. "Hello, Grandma," Olya murmured. "Hello, hello," Nina Pavlovna replied dryly with a nod. "Come in." All day long, Nastia divided her time between the garden beds and her stepdaughter. The girl tried to help. She collected weeds in a bucket and watered the strawberry plants, but she constantly encountered disapproving looks from both her father and grandmother. "Careful," the older woman snapped when the child accidentally brushed against a tomato plant. "Nastia, take her away from here. She's no help at all. Come on, sweetheart. You can help me sweep the paths." Olya obediently followed, her head lowered. The day seemed endless. By evening everyone was exhausted, sweaty, and covered in dirt. Nastia was sweeping the yard and dreaming of going home when suddenly a pale-faced Olya ran up to her. "Mom, we need to leave right now," the little girl whispered, grabbing her hand. The woman's heart skipped a beat. For the first time Olya had called her mom. "What happened, sweetheart? Look at this." With trembling fingers, the girl handed her a phone. "I didn't mean to listen. It happened by accident." She played a video. Anastasia saw the veranda where Andrei and his mother were sitting. Apparently, Olya had recorded it from around the corner of the house. "Son, I've been silent for a long time." Nina Pavlovna's voice sounded unusually gentle. "But I can't keep watching this girl ruin your life. It's been 6 months, and nothing is getting better. Taking her in was a bad idea." "I know, Mom." The man rubbed his temples tiredly. "Do you think this is easy for me? Nastia fusses over her non-stop, and I can't even stand looking at her. Every time I see her, I see Lyda's face. Then maybe it's time to stop enduring it? There is a solution." "What solution?" "The same one Lyda kept threatening. An orphanage." Anastasia felt the ground disappear beneath her feet. She looked at her stepdaughter. Tears were streaming down the girl's cheeks. "Mom. What are you talking about?" Andrei said with a nervous laugh. "Nastia would destroy me." "And what does Nastia have to do with it? She's your daughter. It's your decision. Just look at yourself. You've lost weight, you're constantly nervous. Nastia is exhausted too, always caught between the two of you. And the girl would probably be better off as well. At least there, she'd have professional caregivers." A heavy silence hung over the recording. Then Andrei slowly said, "You know, you're right. I'm tired of all this. If she's not needed by her mother, then she's not needed by me either. After all, the government created those institutions for a reason." The video ended. Nastia stood frozen, a broom still in her hands. Only one thought pounded in her mind. How? How can he say that? "Mommy," the little girl whispered, "I don't want to go to an orphanage. Please." Something seemed to snap inside Nastia's chest. She straightened up, squared her shoulders, and pulled the girl into a tight embrace. "Don't be afraid, sweetheart. No one is sending you anywhere. Wait here." The woman headed toward the veranda with determination. Andrei and his mother were still sitting there, quietly talking. "You are disgusting." Her voice trembled with fury. "You are such low, vile people." They both flinched in surprise. "What are you talking about?" Andrei frowned. "What do you think you're doing?" "I'm talking about what you've been discussing here. Deciding to send a child to an orphanage. Your own daughter and granddaughter." Nastia felt her whole body shaking. "How could you even say such things?" "So you were eavesdropping," her husband hissed. "Don't you dare." His wife raised her hand as if she wanted to slap him. Don't you dare call her that, girl. She has a name, Olya. And she's 1,000 times better than both of you. Nastia, you don't understand, her mother-in-law began. No, it's you who don't understand. You're not people. You're monsters. She took a deep breath. I'm filing for divorce. And I'm taking Olya with me. What? Andrei immediately jumped to his feet. How dare you? Like this. I'm going to adopt her. I'm sure you'll gladly give up your parental rights. That's exactly what you want, isn't it? The woman turned toward the door and calmly called out. Olenka, get ready. We're leaving. Nastia, wait. Her husband tried to grab her arm. Let's talk. Don't touch me. I'm disgusted to be near you. I thought I loved a good man, but it turns out you're a heartless coward. The little girl was already standing by the gate with a backpack in her hands. Anastasia firmly took her hand. Come on, sweetheart. We'll call a taxi and leave this place forever. And what about Daddy? The little girl whispered. You don't have a father anymore. But you do have a mother who will never abandon you. They walked down the dusty road. The woman felt the little hand squeezing hers tighter and tighter. Behind them came Andrei's shouts and his mother's complaints, but she never looked back. A month later, the divorce was finalized. Andrei signed away his parental rights without a word. Apparently, that was exactly what he had wanted all along. 2 months later, Anastasia officially became Olya's mother. Now the two of them lived together in her large 3-room apartment. They worked on a new fairy tale about a magical cat. And every evening, as she tucked her daughter into bed, the woman thought about how strangely life works. She had dreamed of a happy marriage. Instead, she found something far more important. A little red-haired ray of sunshine who called her mom.